us for dinner.
Alrighty, and we are live on the Flat Five podcast with Dylan, aka Pushing Daisies. Man, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me again.
Dude,
so excited to do this.
Yeah, we were just chatting before we started recording. We were talking about sort of like knowing each other without actually having a conversation. I think that's one of the cool things that happens with social media. And then we were discussing your listeners has grown in Canada, which I find hilarious because there is a legitimate, like, what genre would you classify your music as?
I kind of have a hard time with that, just in the sense that like I'm willing to do anything. Like I've been making like hyper pop, like
okay, nice,
like 100 gex s stuff just for fun. But like with this music project, I have that ability where it's just me and I could put out whatever I want. But you know, like my song Sour, which streams the most, is pop punk, I guess, indie rock. So I know there's definitely a pocket for me in that where I'm gonna like stick to that mostly. But in general, I mean, I'm kind of like, I'm doing a hardcore song now, just like,
oh nice,
just kind of like whatever I want. Like it's usually what I'm listening to at the moment, honestly. I'm kind of chameleon.
It's funny because like I see like when you release tunes or when I listen to them, it's like there's some songs that have like that pop punk-esque to it, but it's not entirely pop punk. And I also think the way that you like deliver and roll out the song is a lot more modern feeling, because I think there's truth in saying that the pop punk world has become a little bit traditionalist. You know, 30 years of anything will create that. And I like how you use memes, man. Like the way you do that is so funny. And
yeah,
like I was saying too, my friend Michelle is just like, this dude's fucking hilarious. Like
dope artist, by the way. I love her art.
She is so talented. It's ridiculous, man. She's actually trying to I think she's trying to get a job at like Earth Rangers or something, which is wild to think about. But yeah, absolutely. You know, she's definitely like perfect for album art and all that stuff. But one of the things I've always been curious about with you is what sort of like, were you playing in bands before and then decided to go solo, or were you always just like making music on your own and said, fuck it, why not make a career out of it? Because you were talking about how you had like separate accounts and then decided to just put it all into one, where your sort of personal life and your music project, and then, you know, just general entertainment all sort of fed through one pipe, right?
Yeah.
So what was your
never short of content with that?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you make content?
Like the GV guy?
Yeah. It just makes my life easier because yes, I was doing bands. And something I noticed with bands is you get very limited to what you can post. Like how often are you and four other guys in the same room potentially doing, I mean, in today's era, skits or TikToks and photos and just being able to post stuff. Like I was like the biggest, I guess, or most relevant band I was in was a band called World Class, and it was a 3-piece pop punk band.
Right.
That band, we really took more the traditional route of hitting shows, spending so much on recording and doing music, you know, just like the traditional route.
Right.
And that's kind of where I got estranged, if that's the right word, if that's the word, where like I didn't feel like that was really the route or the right route in today's music era.
Right.
We spent like $3,000 on recording an album and promoting it, and you know, endless amounts of our own money into merchandise and everything, and the payoff just wasn't there. Like,
no, yeah.
It was just draining us all. And I personally looked at that and took and picked apart the pieces that I found to be most beneficial. And that band lasted, I want to say 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. And yeah, it was just kind of like learning from that, and also like going to the studio and seeing how what the engineer does, and like just kind of learning from like picking up like breadcrumbs of like
Absolutely.
all that. And now like this is my studio. Like
Mhm.
I do all my music here all by myself. This is the mic I record on, and
Yeah.
I can do it on my own. Like
Well, that's one of the biggest things, man. Like the technology today. Like, I don't know, there's
so
some like
easy.
there's like some gear buffs that like love to shit on Focusrite or whatever, but I'm like, man, like ever since artists, like in my opinion, like Claro, like even though I consider Billy a bedroom pop artist, like I feel like Phineas is just so fucking talented at what he does. It kind of separates them from bedroom pop production.
For
But
sure.
like ever since I heard the song Pretty Girl by Claro, I was like, you don't need everything to make a hit song. You just
Mhm.
need a fucking good song. Like that's just what it comes down to. Like,
Yep.
sure, your brand and your image as an artist and getting out there, like all those play a part for sure. But since there's been an increase in sort of like at home listening, like vinyls are booming again. And you can
Yeah.
only really listen to vinyls at home. And you can only really listen to vinyls while you're doing some sort of small, you know, regular task at home, or music listening becomes an actual thing that you do. I mean, like if Jack White's making a plea to, Sony, Universal, and whatever the other big one would be, your Capitol Records or whatever, about making vinyls, then clearly there's been a change in how people consume music. And you have the songs like Pretty Girl, where she recorded it using her wired Apple earbuds as her microphone,
So crazy.
which is
Yeah.
fucking wild. And it's at that point, it's like, if she can do that, then my 18i20 is high end gear,
Exactly. Yeah.
and I can make stuff happen with that. And like everything just sounds better from the get-go. Of course, being able to play your instrument and tuning and performance, I think that plays a big part of it as well. But the whole thing of like needing this crazy big budget to get this like above average sounding record is not necessary anymore. And it's not
Mhm.
shitting on producers. It just means like if you're going to go record something, you need a massive budget and you need a month in the studio, and you need to focus on every nuance that is in your recording. Otherwise, get the gear and do it at home, and then maybe send it off to somebody to mix it or whatever, but
Exactly.
the full budget at home. And like I'm a drummer first, and there's a lot of pop punk bands that I listen to, not even just from Toronto, where I know their drummer can play, but they're like sampling all the drums and they're using like Superior 7 or whatever. And I'm sitting there
Mhm.
like, man, like your music is really garagey guitar, really dirty vocals, and then like the most crisp
Boom
drum
ka
sound.
boom ka.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, guys, if you just actually recorded the drums in your garage and just pissed off your neighbors for like 6 hours, this
Mhm.
record would do way better because it feels more complete with rough guitars, rough bass, rough vocals, and rough drums, not like everything rough and then like the fucking Kyle from the Logic drum set, like perfectly playing everything. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't understand this like disconnect in all of it. And there's a band that has a song called You're Killing Me, which I can't remember the name of them right now, but they're a three-piece, and they started touring and playing crazy shows off of a record that they made with like a 4 input interface. Like they had like 4 mics on the drums. But
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, Remo Drive, that's what they're called. You ever listen to Remo
Yep.
Drive?
Yep. Yep. I
Yeah, so
think
like,
the video pops in my head where they're just running the whole
yeah,
time. I'm
exactly.
pretty.
And he's
Yep.
like air playing the drums, and
Mhm.
it's like that song, like what you're playing is already dirty garage rock and like that kind of punk and a little bit of the artsy, Frankie and the Cosmos, like little ending of the song. You crazy production because the song doesn't call for that, unless you're playing like did it cut out there?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, well, I whatever. I'll keep my riff going
This
intact.
is raw.
Yeah, this is
This is
raw.
raw.
Exactly. This is unedited long form podcast, But
Flat
yeah,
five
like
after dark.
but yeah, like, there's a lot of times I feel people spend so much money on production and the music doesn't even really call for that. It's like being able to have like a objective view on what your music is. Like I'm a like a garage punk guy. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
man, all you need is a fucking Squire Strat and some shitty drums and like maybe some good microphones, and then just somebody who knows what they're doing with mixing, and that's it. Like
Yep.
you should have like a full-time budget for the rest of your music career that is like, I don't know, $4,000 including instruments, and that's
Yeah,
just so many bands like
oh, I was just gonna say, like, even so, like, I have a portrait of I have tattoo portraits on my leg of like music idols.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the two big ones are X and Kurt Cobain from Nirvana.
Nice.
I have him tattooed on my leg, and
Yeah.
I think they sum it up a lot, where it's like living through that whole SoundCloud era, and even bringing it back with Nirvana. I mean, like, talk about 4-port recorder. I mean, I watched a documentary where they showed what they recorded Nevermind on. It's fucking insane. And like then looking back on the whole SoundCloud era, and like X and Pump, Perp, like all them just fucking recording on like a AirPod. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So that always drilled into my head, like it's not about so much, I guess, quality of the recording, but quality of the songwriting and quality of pretty much just piggybacking off what you were saying.
Yeah, and even the quality of the performance. Like,
yes,
I saw a video of X was in some bedroom. Fucked up. And he had like, I don't know if it was, yeah, exactly. And he's like giving so much energy, and I'm like, you could put any microphone in front of that dude, and you'll feel what he's trying to do.
Yeah,
like it could be anything, and you'll get that feeling. And it's at that point, it's like, the gear isn't going to do it for you, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be you. You got to put, actual soul and energy into it. And soul doesn't mean like Motown. You know what I mean? Soul just means like what you're feeling. And I feel
my
like
neighbors hate me, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I live in a condo complex, so I'm sandwiched between two. And
right.
I live with my fiance, and I go in the closet and just like, screaming my head off. Because I didn't sing before this project. I kind of self-taught through the way, and
right.
just tried to figure out, because like my first EP with I Don't Care, that, like, when you listen to the vocals, at least I hear, like, it's so heavily edited. And, like,
oh dude, I didn't notice when I heard it. I didn't listen it attentively, but I didn't notice right off the bat.
To me, at least, I can hear it, because like I didn't know what I was doing. I was also in a weird dark place, and like I just really wanted to like I was just in a weird headspace, and like that song in particular, it to me, it's just so dark. And with all that mixed with I don't know what I was doing, I was just kind of throwing shit at the wall to see what stuck. And
right
for me, like when in the aftermath, when I had all the vocal files and everything, I just started clicking and editing and like
right
fixing it all up. And I was just trying to find myself, I guess, in that. Like that was a year ago now, which is so wild to think about.
Damn,
so
man.
Fast.
I don't know. Well, this is the same thing I was saying with my friend Michelle. Like, I just feel like, I don't know. I guess when you do a lot during the day, this will happen. But like, I feel like time has been moving so slow. Like, I feel like with every day, it's like it's only Sunday. Like, it feels like it's been a week. But it's been like 3 days or whatever. And so it's wild to think about that. Like, because I think the first thing that caught my eye and caught my attention seeing your music was in that music video, I Don't Care. You had like your head sticking out of the car.
Yeah.
And you were like singing, and I'm like, how the fuck did that guy do that?
Yeah.
Like, that would have been wild.
I wanted to talk about that too, or the videos. I have one guy, Cody. He's a friend I grew up with.
Right.
He lives in Jersey now, and that was his first music video, was I Don't Care. So with him, he wanted to kind of get.
I apologize to interrupt you. Say that once more, just because it froze. You were saying you have a friend in Jersey, and then.
Oh yeah. So my friend in Jersey, Cody, he's the one who did all my videos. That was I Don't Care was his first video.
Right.
He just he wanted to get his feet wet, and he because I guess just to bring it back a little, I was doing after World Class, after I was out of that band, I was kind of like like didn't really want to do music for a little bit.
Of course.
So I was doing like skits, um
Mm.
and like just like TikToks and stuff.
Yeah.
I got one viral video, so I was like, this is my career path. And
Yeah.
so I started doing that. This is like late 2019.
Right.
And I just posted an old video the other day of is it gay to have sex with your clone? And in the background, I edited a second me coming in a robe, shirtless, and like, are you coming back to bed? And it was just kind of like a dumb video. But I reposted
Bro, I've
it.
never heard that before, man. That's actually fucking hilarious, bro.
Dude, you should watch
Bro.
it. It's on my page.
Dude,
So.
absolutely. I'm gonna take my buddy Landon to edit like that in, and I'm gonna steal a clip of that. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so I have a question, random question. If you were to have sex with your clone, is that gay or is that just masturbation? Because hey baby, are you almost? I'll be back in a minute. Are you back to bed? Look, I'm doing a video. No, are you coming back to bed? Just give me a few minutes. All right, fine. All right, guys, I gotta go.
So I was getting into like video editing and like just being able to have two me's on screen at the same time, which is funny or like just a cool idea to me.
Yeah.
And so I dove into that. And when I was posting a lot of these videos, like this like late 2019, my friend Cody hit me up and he was just like, yo, that's dope, whatever, yada yada. You know, I was kind of thinking about doing this. And so I kind of put the battery in his back, like charged him up, just like go for it. Like I love seeing my friends, like I love seeing them just go down the creative route or do what they wanted to do, follow their dreams, or you know, I don't know why. I don't know. I just love seeing my friends like do good. And so
100%.
Anything he needed at that time, I was like, I will fight. Like my first music video, I'm like, do it. Like, I don't even care what experience you have, whatever. Like, I'm in this with you. And like I said, we grew up together, so I had a lot of trust in him. But yeah, with the videos, it's just cool to see his growth with my stuff too. Like, we did the I Don't Care video and the Out the Window video the same day.
Oh wow.
Me and my fiance Jazz, we drove up. You know, it's like 2.5 hours from our place.
Damn.
We drive to Jersey. We do the 2 videos in a day because we knew we had limited time.
Right.
And I know, again, back to content, always got to be posting.
You got to be turning it out, man. Absolutely, man. It's crucial.
As much content as I could get in like a day, I try to get it all. Like, so we do those 2 videos. And then the sour video, it's just so cool to see like growth from then, because I came to him with the idea for the sour video, and you know, we're able to execute it. It took, that video shoot took so long because it's the 3 Dylans.
Right.
So each Dylan had to have 2 like go throughs of the song.
Oh damn.
And it's freezing. It's like the end of November. I'm outside. I'm trying to look cool, so I'm wearing a t-shirt and shorts.
Yeah, in the cold.
Dude, it was such a shitty shoot, but we got through it. But yeah, that just took all day. And then what's funny is in some shots you can see it's like nighttime. In other shots it's like daytime. Because also I'm a terrible drummer. I don't know how to drum. So I'm sitting on the drum kit and like we had to keep redoing it because I'm like
it's like not timing up.
It's so bad. God.
So what was your first instrument that you like? Maybe like for some people they're like, oh yeah, I started playing guitar, but then I joined a band and started playing bass. Like, what was the very first instrument that you played, and then what was the first instrument that you played in bands?
So that guitar right there, that's the first electric I ever got. And I still record all my songs on it.
Nice.
I got that I think in 8th grade, and then I have an acoustic guitar in the corner.
Yeah,
that's my first guitar ever, and I got that in 5th grade.
Wow.
So those
you still have the same guitars that you.
That's what I record all my songs on. Yeah.
Wow.
And then the bass here, that is what I played in World Class. World Class was, I would consider like really the only band, because that's the only band we really like did stuff. And it's World Class with a V. Right. So CLVSS. We saw videos.
Oh, okay, interesting.
it was Paris, you know, like P.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Because it was 2015, 2016.
Yeah, that was the trend.
It was kind of the
Yeah.
trend. So
Oh man,
um to
Paris,
find
man.
us,
Holy.
the same with Pushing Daisies with the period at the end.
Right.
I just like, because I want it to be found easy in the sense where it's
Mm.
like you look up Pushing Daisies, there's a TV show named Pushing Daisies. There's like there's like two other bands named it, and I was like,
Right.
I just fell in love with the name, so
Mhm.
I figured the period
Mm.
would help, and that was the
Yeah,
same
for
with
sure.
that band. Kind of went off on a tangent there.
It's all
But
good.
basically, I record all my music with these guitars,
Mhm.
and they're all the first instruments I got.
That's dope though. I like that though, because like we were saying, like there's a lot of times where, you know, you kind of get your first gear and you're like, oh, all I have is this like Squire Telly, and how come my songs aren't, you know, fucking #1 hits? So it must be the guitar kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, to me, the way I think of it is, it's like you kind of have to get your instrument and like master it, or at least reach a point where you're happy with it. Like the first drum set that I owned was a Blue Sparkle CB drum set that I got when I was, I want to say like 12 or 13 or so.
Mm.
And I fucking abused that drum set. That drum set went through like, I think there was one. Yeah. So the stock snare for that kit had a dent in the rim, because I always had it in the same spot, because I liked having the throw off clutch like to the left for the snare wires.
Mhm.
So, and then all I would play is like when I really got into drumming, I would play like Black Keys, Billy Talent, a little bit of the Police. I would play like a little bit of Kings of Leon, or bands like Keen. I played a lot of Keen because the grooves were easy.
Yeah.
But then this like transition phase happened with Billy Talent and Slipknot, and then Blink-182. And then, you know, trying to play like Travis's beats, like even songs like Going Away to College. It's like the songs are not easy, even though that's like the easier songs in his catalog. It's
I'm
still
so
hard.
upset with Travis, by the way. His fall from
Oh.
grace for me is just so like,
Oh, really? Eh?
sad. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like the only one that annoys me is MGK, because I just don't like MGK.
I know.
Dude, it's
That
so
whole
annoying.
trend is just so like, I don't know. It seems like I don't know. I hate being like this, but like the disingenuine feeling I get from it is just so
I get
big.
that.
Like
100%.
Avril Lavigne came back and was
Yeah, and
like,
she married
"Hey
Mod Sun of all
guys,
people.
I
My
never went
God, I know.
anywhere," and
Yeah.
is doing that whole thing, and it's like, I get it in a sense, because I think it's what, every 20 years things come back into style.
Yeah.
But it just seems like such a safe bet to me, and such like a money grab from my point of view.
100%. I totally agree. No, and this is why I've not been a fan of, like, I think I truly believe this, even though I got into Blink-182 off of Enema of a State, and then I worked backwards. Thankfully, because one of my friends at the time, you know, like I got into Blink in like grade 8, and I was hanging out with a kid that was in like grade 10 or 11 at the time, and he's like, "No, man, you got to work backwards. You got to start with like Buddha, Shishar, Cat. You know, we came to conquer Uranus, or whatever it's called, and like that way, right?" And so I really appreciated the earlier Blink before getting into the later stuff, like Topaz and Untitled, and Neighborhoods was out at that time and everything. And I remember like, wow, I love all of it. And I loved Neighborhoods because I grew up on U2, because my dad's a big fan of U2. And then Tom DeLonge's playing like the Edge, you know, delayed reverby guitar sound. And I'm like, this is awesome, you know? But when they released Dogs Eating Dogs, I was like, I think this might be one of my favorite Blink releases of all time.
I love Boxing Day off that.
Oh my God. Yeah. And like, because that whole EP actually feels like Mark and Tom and Travis actually sat down and they really made music that felt like all three of them playing their own songs. Not, here's a part of the song that's Travis, and then here's a part of the song that's Tom, then Mark's gonna sing the chorus. Like Neighborhoods, even though I love a lot of the music, it feels like a collage of ideas, you know, kind of like where you cut out like the letters in a magazine and you make like a poster. It feels like that, you know. I really feel like Plus 44, Angels and Airwaves, and then original Blink, and then Travis's solo stuff like blended perfectly in there. Even with oh my God, who's the rapper that's on the Yellow Wolf? Like they have a rap verse in that record. I'm like, this is like,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
one of the most holistic records, like Dogs Eating Dogs is a little bit heavy. Pretty Little Girl feels like one of their more better romantic tunes. Boxing Day is fantastic. And I'm blanking on the other two songs, but it's like, this is a fantastic record. And then California and 9. And I'm like, guys, like,
yeah,
I get Ski.
I got to revisit that record now. I forgot about those
it's so
bangers.
And I fucking love it. Front to back, I think it's like some of the best music they've ever made because of what it stands for and how it actually sounds artistically speaking. Like, sure, it doesn't have all the small things on there or And I Miss You on there or whatever. But I'm like, what the music actually is, as a fan of Blink-182 and the fan of the 3 individual members, I think that record does better than a lot of the other ones. Again, for what it means in the whole legacy of the band. And then you have like fucking 9 and that song, the Quarantine song. I was like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like you have not aged well.
Inevitably, like they turned into dad rock.
Yeah, exactly.
Which it makes sense. I mean, of course, everyone grows up. It's just funny.
It's just the way that they've done it, because it's like, I don't know. I kind of want them to be guys like Jack White, who are constantly like, what, man?
Like wine.
Yeah, aged like wine. Exactly. Like, I was watching a bit of his interview with Zane Lowe, talking about like Third Man Records and the location that they have in like Detroit, Nashville, and the one that he opened up in London. And the dude to this day still doesn't have a phone. I'm like, that's probably the best thing for him as an artist,
Well, he's past that too. Like, I feel like new artists now, like you have to tap into social media to some extent. You have to be in. It's just the way the world works now. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
He was in the generation before, which I kind of envy in a sense, where it's like they're bigger than that. Like, they don't need. I think I saw Adele do an interview about that.
Right.
Her and like, I think she name dropped Drake were like some of the last artists in that before era. Before internet music, before like internet sales.
Absolutely.
Which, all those artists before then, it's just a different level.
And a different fan base too. Like, they're like Adele was saying with the last record that she made, she didn't make that record for 16 to 22-year-old girls or whatever. Like, this is a record made for her fan base that has actually aged the last 10 years. And they're like 35 now, because they were once 25 when Hello came out or whatever. And Jack White definitely falls in that tier. And I envy them as well, because there's a level of like an actual a beneficial disconnect from the world that happens, and they're also, I don't know, maybe it's just like the music that they make. Like, Jack White's kind of in his own lane, but it never feels like his music is out of touch. Like the music that he just released, I'm like, this feels like Jack White constantly pushing himself. Or even the last Rack on Tours record, it's just like that different level. And then there's something happening now with internet music where it's like everybody's riffing off of everybody, and it's amalgamating into this one genre, which is cool because a lot of really cool shit can come out. Like, I do you listen to Turnstile at all?
I can't. I kind of fell onto the train with their last record. I never listened to them before, and then I heard it. I was like, oh my God, this is like
I saw them
level.
I saw them in 2019 just by chance, and a band that I was playing in before, one of the band members' brothers spoke really highly of them because he was really into the hardcore scene. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll check him out. And he's like, yeah, well, because I went to Coachella in 2019. I hate fucking saying it because everybody's like, oh, you're like a Coachella guy. I'm like, I just went because I just wanted a vacation that was just music focused,
Yeah.
It wasn't like New Orleans or Nashville or whatever, because it wasn't ready for that. But anyways, like, the bandmate's brother continuously talked about them like every rehearsal. He's like, you gotta check them out. You gotta check them out. I was like, okay, totally. I'll listen to them when I come back. And then the first set that we catch is Turnstile, and I didn't even know it was them until I like looked at the like time schedule and all that. I was like, oh damn, like this is the band. And
I'm sure they ripped too. They probably did so good.
Holy fuck, dude. My buddy got kicked in the face off of somebody jumping off.
That's how good they were.
It was, man. I was like, this is amazing. And at that time, like, I was really into Tame Impala. I mean, obviously still am, but like, I was also into Dermot Kennedy, Unknown Mortal Orchestra, Anderson .Paak, Maggie Rogers. Like those are all the people that were playing there in 1975. And I was like, I'd kind of fallen out of like heavy music in general for some time. The only distortion I really listened to was like, you know, one riff off of Tame Impala or you know, it sounds like American Goat from UMO or something. And then I saw the Turnstile set, I was like, oh, it's kicked in again. I'm like, I'm ready to mosh. I'm like, let's go. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Started listening to their music, and then Nusha came out and obviously got distracted again. But Glow On is just like,
Well, you know they're good when their daytime performance or like when they did late night shows or whatever, and the audio sounds good.
yeah, exactly,
like,
exactly.
Not many people sound good on those shows.
Well,
and they sounded crisp. It was so
they
good.
sound fantastic, but I think the performance level of them is also really high. Like their guitarist that has he has the sort of like Eddie Van Halen tone. You know, like you can hear that dude fucking practices, man, and like really tries to like nail the shit because it's not easy. But I love the new record because there's been a really good influence of how, I don't want to say urban, even though that's what it's categorized as on paper. I think that's such a stupid word, but like hip hop, R&B, you know, alternative hip hop, even like whatever genre you can classify like using a Rhodes piano as. Like they did their NPR performance and they did a stripped down version of
sick.
Mystery. And I was like, they just Frank Oceaned Turnstile. Like the way that they did this was fucking amazing. And it's like, I love seeing versatility in a way that it makes sense and it feels genuine, you know, and it got me going back to rap rock because I was listening and watching a video on Rick Rubin and like Aerosmith and Run DMC and all that. And I was like, all right, guys, I see what's happening right now. Like there's this second blend again of like rock and the rap and hip hop world like happening. And I'm very curious to see what kind of music Turnstile will inspire, you know, coming in the next couple of years.
I think they're turning a lot of people onto hardcore.
100%.
That wave is probably going to be coming soon of
absolutely
the effects of the Glow On era. There's something that's going to come from that for sure.
Well, yeah, like they just did Stephen, I don't know, they did Seth Meyers. They did, I don't know if it was Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert, one of the two.
Yeah, Kimmel and Fallon, I always mix up.
Yeah, well, you know what's so funny? They did an April Fool's video of they switched sets. So it was Jimmy Kimmel on Fallon and Fallon on Kimmel. And then the whole crowd's like, the fuck? And I was like, you guys are the same person. Like literally.
In my head, I always mix them up anyway. So
yeah. But yeah, like their music is pretty fucking badass. And I love showing it to friends that don't normally listen to rock or classify like hardcore as like, you know, System of a Down or Korn and the Ita Pita and all that shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, or like I'm Still a Freak and all that. Yeah. But yeah, there's definitely a new wave of it happening. And a lot of my friends too that I never would have expected to listen to any sort of metal, or if anything, it's like Metallica or whatever. They're like, yeah, like, yo, I've been listening to this band. Or like one of my buddies was like, dude, like I'm a huge fan of this band called Ginger. And I was like, oh, well, who, like, I thought Ginger, there's an artist, I think his name is Ginger Root. He's like, you know, this wave of indies had like an influence in like 70s kind of funk and disco. Yeah. And it got like that slight splash of it. I was like, oh, do you mean Ginger Root? And he's like, I don't think it's called Ginger Root. He's like Jinjer. I was like, okay, that's definitely not it. And I'm like, what is it? He's like, oh, it's this female fronted like new metal band. I was like, oh, let me hear some. And I'm like, this shit fucking slaps. He's like, yeah, I've been listening for like 2 years now. I'm like, what? And then he's like, well, when the pandemic hit, he's like, I just kind of got bored of like what I was normally listening to because I just listened to whatever people talked about. But when you're not talking to people, you're sitting down in front of your phone or your computer and, you know, you're going to New Music Friday or Discover Weekly or whatever Apple has to offer, or, you know, you hear a TikTok sound. Like I started getting into like Brazilian music and bossa nova and a lot of like 80s Portuguese music because they were using them as Instagram and TikTok sounds, you know, and going back to all that. And I'm like, damn, like what musicians typically think on so I don't say like that style, but there's a whole bunch of it Oh, I think it's frozen again.
Yeah, it froze a little.
Do we have a freeze? Yeah. No, I was just saying that musicians always try and think about how are people ingesting music? How are people finding new music? Because I'm a smaller artist or whatever. Like, how can I get in front of them? And I think like all the traditional ways are being rewritten. There are people that are like, I had a friend that told me that one of their favorite new artists are the Spinners. And I'm like, the Spinners are fucking decades old. And they're like, yeah, but like, I just heard it on a TikTok sound because someone's video was their dad was listening to it. And now I love it. Yeah. And now I'm listening to them. And I'm like, as an artist today, you don't need to like mimic like, oh, okay, we're going to get signed as a punk band when we make crazy ass jackass style videos like Sum 41 and then send that to labels. Like the whole thing is just fucking get in front of people. However you can manage it, just get in front of people, Yeah,
I lucked out a little bit with because I was saying like Sour's my most streamed song, and there is a reason for that. And it's one of my friends from high school. He's like kind of TikTok famous. Like he has a pretty big following.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that just happened within the last few months. And he threw me a shout out in a video.
Nice.
Boulevard Lynn, if you guys want to look him up.
How do you spell Lynn? Like L-Y? Is it
L-I-N?
Yeah. L-I-N. Okay.
That's his rap. That's his rap name too. You can find him on streaming. But he did a video with Sour playing. And immediately after, I got hundreds of streams on the song.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like the new way of ingesting music is or the current way of ingesting music is completely different than what it used to be.
Yeah.
TikTok is fucking so big. It's ridiculous. It's like making people's careers.
Yeah. It's insane. So, it's the wave now, So
what do you have what do you have planned coming up? Do you have anything coming up?
So my whole release process is EPs. I try to do a frequent flow of releasing music. This 2021, I put out 2 EPs. Each year I want to try to do like 3 or 4, like just keep releasing music.
Absolutely.
Coming up, I just dropped Dogma. And that is going to be on my next EP, which I'm hoping to get out before my wedding.
When is your wedding?
June 26th. So it's coming up quick.
Well, congratulations, man.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you guys listen to Dogma, you'll see what headspace I'm in with that.
Yeah.
For the most sugary, lovey song.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I wanted to try that out. Like, again, we're trying out different genres. I wanted to see if I could write, like Blink always had like sugary love songs, or like,
oh my God, all the time.
Even back when, like the Beatles and stuff, and like just where it's like just so wholesome. And I wanted to try it. I wanted to give it a shot.
So was the inspiration from that song solely from just your fiance, or was that something that was like lingering before, like, you know what, like when the time is right, I'll make a song like this?
I always like plan 2 or 3 steps ahead, just so I kind of have like an idea. So this EP, I knew back in August last year, I'm going to call it Some Love Songs. Right. And I'm just going to have a couple love songs because I know I'm getting married. That's what's on my brain. Like,
absolutely.
That's all I can like really see right now.
For sure.
It's coming up. And even so, like the year before when I was dropping I Don't Care, Out the Window, all those just have such dark and heavy like tones to it. So now that I am like getting happy, it is kind of like, I gotta, like, I can only write about what's in front of me. So
I feel that.
With that being said, like I'm trying to get it out. I put a lot of pressure on myself because I still work a full-time job. I'm still like, this is a hobby, this is a side thing.
What do you do for your full-time gig?
I have a very weird job.
Oh man.
My title
is something dirty.
Well, I don't know if you see, I get free food all the time.
Yeah, dude. Okay, this is one of the things I wanted to ask you, man. So I always thought you were from this area near my town, called Woodbridge. Yeah. Funny enough, there's a Woodbridge in Connecticut.
Yes.
Which I'm like, that's okay. All of this is a simulation. I'm like, this is, they're just copy and pasting names and just fuck it. It's all the same. But like every day. This fucking dude. I'm like, where is this in Woodbridge? Like, where are all of these wonderful food trucks? Because I never see them when I'm in Woodbridge. And then you're like, yeah, I'm in Connecticut. And I'm like, that makes so much more sense now. So what do you do?
So I work in New York. I work at a research center.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So I'm not a researcher, but I do support for the researchers.
Right.
I'm basically contracted through a company to go there and handle the chemicals. I'm like in my team that works there, we receive the chemicals and we deliver them out to the labs. They can't tell us what they're researching on, so it is like a bit Stranger Things-esque.
Yeah.
It's very odd, but you come across real smart people. It's people from all over the world. A lot of Scandinavian, a lot of people from Asian countries, Scandinavian,
right.
and they all accumulate there, and some of the smartest people. And
damn,
the research, it's IBM research in New
oh
York.
okay, yeah, yeah, everyone knows IBM.
Yeah, so they it's a lot of AI, a lot of just research. A lot of quantum computers are around that building too.
Damn.
But it's such a rich or wealthy facility that they treat their employees. So
we got the food trucks.
We get free breakfast Mondays.
Damn.
Food trucks on Wednesdays, pizza trucks on Fridays.
Bruh. I might change professions.
Dude, it's a sweet gig.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, because I always see them like, this shit looks so good. And near Woodbridge, there's another town called Richmond Hill. And there's one mall that they have like these food trucks line up. And I see some people go there and I'm like, I don't think Dylan goes to Richmond Hill because Dylan
mine for free.
Yeah, Dylan's food looks way better than the shit in Richmond Hill.
So crazy.
It's like overpriced and your shit's free and it looks better. And I'm like, is there some like weird like Freemason like food truck thing happening in Woodbridge where it's like only the secluded know about it? It's like this is wild, but no, it's in the US where the cuisine is an actual cuisine compared to here.
It's such an odd job. Like I got 2 of my buddies hired now too. So it's nice. It's cool. It's like I'm surrounded by friends. It's a great job. But we're walking through the halls and Boston Dynamics, the little like robot dogs.
I'm not sure if I do.
So
if I saw it, I may recognize it.
There's an episode of Black Mirror actually about it. But they're these little robot dogs that that you push them over, they get back up, and like they're just it's kind of creepy. But we're walking through the hall and we just see one kind of like walking through and we're like, no one's next to it. They had to have been testing out some type of like AI in it or something. Right. Like, but there's just weird shit like that going on all the time there. Damn. So it's just.
Are you a fan of Black Mirror?
I liked every season except the last one. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 episodes I liked in the last season. Yeah,
the last one, is that the one that had Miley Cyrus in it?
Yes.
Yeah, I felt that one was a little bit off too. I haven't watched it in years now, but the Miley Cyrus one I felt had so much potential. It did. Then just kind of like fell off the boat.
They fell short for sure.
Yeah,
in that last season.
The favorite episode I have of that one, it's like the blonde kind of hockey Canadian looking dude where he goes and tests out like the video game.
Yeah.
And then
the Star Trek-esque game.
Yeah. And then like all of his like fears like happen during the game and then it only spans like a second. And the shit like that I love because it reminds me of like
no, I mixed it up. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. Yep. I mixed up with season 5, I think.
Okay, true.
Trek-y one.
Yeah,
that's a great episode.
That one I was really like, good. Fuck, that one like messed with my brain. And the other one too, the guy that's the actor that plays the new Morpheus in The Matrix, and the guy that plays like Captain America's the Falcon, that actor. Those 2 guys were in another Black Mirror episode together, and they like fall in love with each other through the video game.
Yep.
And I was like,
happens with me and my guys. They're in Call of Duty all the time.
Yeah, and then like you clone and like, is it gay if you have sex with your clone? And I was like, pushing daisies, Black Mirror season 6
crossover.
Like, crossover. Yeah. Oh my god, that's so wild. So with your editing, like, because video editing is one thing that I've always like wanted to do, but I've never had the patience for. Yo, that stuff for sure. Like all, like I'd be doing like Foley. Like I run a small digital audio advertising company called Tritone, where I also produce some of the commercials that we run during campaigns. And sometimes we need to do like a little bit of Foley. So I'll do like computer clicking or mouse clicking or whatever's appropriate for the ad. And audio production and editing, I'm like all day. But when it comes to video, like even with my drum covers, I'm like, oh my God, like can it just immediately be good? Like I don't have the for this. And I'm always curious to ask people like what their experience is like with it, because it's the one area I always fall short on.
Yeah. I hate video editing with a
Okay, I'm
passion.
not the only one then.
I really do. I do it out of like necessity. Because same with like the recording music. Like I hate mixing, I hate mastering, I hate video editing. It's just like, because to me there's so many memes about it, but like just meticulously like moving
fine tuning,
yeah, like I hate that so much. Like
yeah,
going back
absolutely.
to this just being a side hobby,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still like I'm up to like 2 a.m. most nights, and then
Yeah.
got to wake up at 5:30, go to work. It's like I
Mm-mm.
still like, I don't know what that drive is, but like I wish I didn't have to do it. I wish I
Yeah,
didn't
for sure.
have to do all that. I wish I could just go to a studio, pay $3,000, just go
Yeah.
bah, 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 and then they do all of it. But I can't. I just I don't have that money. First off, I don't have, you know, really resources in the sense of like I'm not a drummer, and so like paying a studio drummer to come in and do it, or like
right.
you know, different things like that. I don't have resources, I don't have the money, and like I kind of take pride in doing it myself, of like being like I did that.
Yeah.
I think that comes from years of being a bass player in a band.
There you go.
I'm kind of like the background. So
Yeah.
which I was told I didn't write the music. I didn't perform it on the record. And
Wow.
so like it was all kind of done before I joined, and
Right.
there was a lot less pride in being like, this is, you know, this is me, this is my band, this is, it was
Yeah.
kind of like I was performing. So
Yeah,
with
playing
this,
someone else's tunes.
yeah, and like given at the time they were my best friends, and like it was all kind of, you know, like I, it felt like a family, but it wasn't like, this is me, this is Dylan, you know. So
Right.
that's
I
why
feel
I
that.
think I take the hit, where it's like, I guess I don't mind getting 3 hours of sleep Monday through
Yeah.
Friday.
Damn.
But it's still like, you know.
So do you find that like recording songs, like you say it's a hobby, do you find that's like one of the things that helps you sort of like decompress and
mm,
stress and de-stress, like when you're writing? Like I know like sometimes editing and mixing can be really stressful, but the actual like creation process of it, do you find that that's like a decompressing kind of thing?
love it. I love
Mm,
actually just singing now. Like I wish I
mm,
had a producer. I wish I had
yeah.
someone that could do it all for me. Which
Right.
is kind of like why I like the hyper pop stuff.
Yeah, oh
I
my
found a
God.
producer, and the beats are just, you know, like $10, $15, and you buy
Yeah.
it, and then you got a song, and then I you know, just sing. And because
Mhm.
it's the same process with like all my songs. I don't write. I just kind of like do line by line, and then
I
see
see.
how it goes.
Right.
Um but yeah, I wish I had a producer or
Mm,
something, but again, I guess going back to the whole like being proud of it being me, that kind of trumps that, where it's
yeah.
like I could show someone a song and be like, yeah, I recorded, mixed, mastered, sang, like
Did
it's
all of
me.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like
it's a growing sort of like, I don't want to say trend, but it's like it's a growing, for lack of a better word, like thing that I see around music, especially with a lot of people that have like solo projects that aren't just their actual name,
mm,
like John Mayer or whatever, but it's
yeah.
like I'm the guy that not only wrote it and did everything, but then I did all the production side. And so the the whole process was directly from your ears and hands, like directly from your brain. And like I was saying, my buddy Sam from he has a project called Glitter Party. He does all of it, and it's definitely more of the like lo-fi kind of production style.
Hmm.
And he just released a song that was like, I was like, damn, like I can tell his production ability has it's like upgraded, and I don't know, like I would feel like my brain sort of hearing saying my own song over and over would get me so out of scope with it that I wouldn't be able to tell if I'm making it any better or if I'm making it worse sometimes, which is kind of wild to think about. Cause like for drummers, it's like if the kid sounds good in the room and the mics are placed properly, and obviously like aside from phase and all that shit, but like all that's good, it's like boom. It's like as long as I feel it, it's like good to go. But then you start adding all these layers. And then my brain's like, whoa, like fuck, man. Like let's dial it back a bit,
With the drums and stuff too for my songs. Like I said, I'm not a drummer.
Right.
And going back to like not liking the punch-in sound.
Right.
I'll take like loops of live drums and chop them up.
Nice.
So it gets that live feel.
Right.
Because I think Dave Grohl said this in an interview, and I 100% agree. I like the imperfections in recordings, hearing the finger slide on the guitar, or like hearing like those little like in my songs, like All Dogs Go to Heaven. At the end, I leave audio recording of just the room after I was done singing and playing guitar. Like I like those little imperfections. I think
it feels like you're there. It doesn't feel like it's like this, like I don't know, like I love some digital art, but I also love like art made by someone's hand, where that's not the most perfect tree I've ever seen in my life or whatever. And that translating through the music is really important. And it's funny that you said the guitar slide thing, because it always annoys me. Like, when you kind of hear something in a song, you can't unhear it anymore. It doesn't matter what it is. Like I was listening to Billy Talent, and there's like the snare is like perfect. And then there's this one snare note where you can tell he just hit a little bit to the left and he got like crazy overtones on it. And I'm like, I'm always waiting for that note, and I kind of like it. But the sliding part is so real. And the fact that people take that out, I'm like, why? Like I want to feel like you're actually playing it. Like not
I love
like
all
it's like
that
a computer,
stuff.
Absolutely.
I think growing up, like obviously I lived through that SoundCloud era, but also before that, I mean, I'm 27. So like back I grew up like MySpace, like those bedroom bands.
Oh my god,
And that's real imperfection.
Yeah,
that was like
sure.
when home studios just started. And so like staples for me are like From First to Last, first record, Dear Diary, like those songs, if you go back and listen, it's like, talk about imperfections. I mean, they really left everything in. And a lot of those emo bands from back then, I guess I took a piece of that with me growing up. And so I don't know, I think it gives it character.
That's 100%. And that's like, I feel like that's necessary in the music, like that's one of the reasons why I love bands like Unknown Mortal Orchestra, because it's like I can hear, like he has this one song called From the Sun, and you can hear the guitar, like his fingers slide every single whack ass chord that he's playing. That's like, so out there, all these like ninth chords and shit. And they're so nice to listen to. And it's like, I feel like it wouldn't translate the feeling that like the guy Ruben Nielsen is like, it feels like that he's actually performing the song for you when you're listening to it. And it's like, if you take all that away, it's just kind of like, I feel like there's this disconnect in the music,
My buddy Jake, he likes metal and like hardcore and stuff. Some of the metal bands he plays me, they're so polished, where it's like and then like the drums are just like and like
it's so
the
true.
robotic noises to me just don't feel right, even though like for instance for me, my drums aren't real drums, but I like having I prefer doing like loops and chopping it as opposed to almost like a Kanye-esque where
totally
like, samples. I'm super I'm not ashamed to say I'm super sample heavy. Like I really like using
I think
samples.
sampling is its own art. Like it's its own discipline, Like, are you a fan of MF Doom or Jay Dilla?
I respect it. I haven't really dove too much into their discography.
There's a lot of like greats, like MF Doom would sample a lot of like old cartoons, because like his mask is the metal face, the guy from Fantastic Four, Victor Von Doom, right? That's like the whole caricature. And like he'll like They're one kind of like, Doom is like the most evil villain, and we must do everything that we can to stop him. And then his rhymes are like I'm the fucking best, and then like it perfectly fits with that. And it's like I love the blend of like other domains and other formats of pop culture making its way into music, and that's why I think sampling is so beautiful. And then actually taking samples of other music and reimagining it for your song. And I think I don't know if it's Vice or a different no, it's Vox on YouTube. They do a great job of breaking down samples or rhyme schemes, and like showing you how it's all laid out. And to me, anybody that really says like sampling deteriorates or makes the music feel less real is out of touch with what it actually means, because I feel like it adds so much more to the music.
You're pulling it off if no one can tell you're sampling. I think
Yes.
if you listen to a song and you can't pinpoint the sample, I think that's when it's used rightfully, or when it's done right.
That's a good way to
what
word
I
that.
try to do. I try to do that. So like recent music that I've been doing, I have stepped away a little bit from being so sample heavy, but
right.
It just comes in waves when it's fit, when I feel like it needs it, or it needs something, or that paint stroke is needed, I think. I do. I have no like I guess shame in that.
For sure.
Like, of course, I'll take.
You started pushing daisies, you said, last year?
Yeah.
So wild to think about that, because it feels like it's been much longer.
Definitely.
Yeah, my God, like fuck. I was like, oh yeah, like it's been a few years now, like at least 3. It's not like not even close. But
like 7 songs out. 8 songs.
Yeah. Do you have you ever performed any of these songs before?
Nope.
Do you plan to?
I do, actually, after the wedding, because this past year, we moved out together. We planned a wedding together. So like I got a new job in New York. Like just so much happened where it's like,
yeah, totally.
For me to sit down and like I said, like my writing and everything, that all happens between like 10 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Recording all my music, all that, it all happens in that time slot. So my music really is only like a Monday through Friday, like 4-hour thing each night.
Right. Totally.
So like to find a band, which I'm still debating whether or not I want, let alone practicing the songs and getting everything ready.
Yeah.
Because if I perform it solo, that's a whole nother thing I really have to,
you got to kind of reimagine the music.
Yeah, I don't want to like just play the MP3. I want to be able to like, drop the main vocals, maybe have harmonies in the mix, or like, there's a lot more I have to do with that too. So it's a lot of planning, and I think I'm a perfectionist. I don't know, but like I get like my tunnel vision is so like, if I make a decision to do something, I'm going to make sure I execute it the best of my ability. Like,
yeah, I respect that.
So if I decide to go with a band, which again, that's going to be tough, like to be like, hey, like, can you learn how to play these songs, and like get together and practice, and like also too, like you're saying, I sample, so like I don't even know how to play some of the stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta kind of figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's decisions I have to make, but I think for maybe my first few shows, I will probably be solo, just on stage, which talk about nerve-wracking. I mean,
you kind of have to DJ yourself. You ever listen to Jacob Collier?
No, I haven't.
He like, I would say he's like modern fusion is the best way to word it, even though he has some like R&B tunes with Daniel Caesar. I would say like
Daniel.
Yeah, I would say like modern fusion, contemporary fusion is the best way to word him. One of those like crazy music nerd types, like gets the whole crowd to sing chords kind of shit.
Dope.
His fan base is almost entirely musicians, but he's really cool and very respectable. I mean, he made Chris Martin cry playing some song, so I was like, the dude's got something.
Yeah.
But I was watching a Audio Tree performance of him. Do you know Audio Tree?
I've heard the name.
It's like a music collective. Like they put on shows, like they've had King Gizzard out, and they do like a lot of like in studio, like live off the floor recordings. Like they've had bands like big Canadian bands here, like Counterparts, Chastity, The Dirty Nil. They've had like San Morimoto, more of the up and coming artists across genres, and it's not just limited to like hard rock or punk or whatever. So they did a show with Jacob Collier, and I don't know if he was playing to a click track in his ear or if the looping situation he had was just fucking top notch, but he would like play a drum beat and maybe run for like 4 measures or a couple, turnarounds or whatever. And then after that, stop. And then the drums are now like in the mix. And then he'll lay down some chords, some, like auxiliary percussion or whatever. And then
one man band it.
Yeah, well, exactly. No, but it was a loop effect. So the introduction of the song, which is usually, I don't know, 10 seconds, like 8 bars or whatever, is now extended because he's introducing each instrument. And he did a cover of Close to You by Stevie Wonder, like Stevie Wonder's version of the Carpenters song. And it was fucking great. And I was like, man, like I would love to see more of that. And then you have artists like Tash Sultana who's doing that too, the whole like looping thing, right? And so there's a lot out there. I just like, I'm always so curious, like, are people using like a Helix loop? Are people running everything through main stage? Is it just like an MP3 that's, they've got an in-ear and they kind of know like when it's starting up, and are they just playing a couple measures and then the drums take off the rest of it? Like there's all these different ways. And I'm always so curious, like, how do people make this shit happen?
Yeah.
And it still has feel, it doesn't feel like the rapper that just plugs in his laptop and then tells the sound guy, okay, press the space bar, and then starts riffing on top of it, kind of thing, right? And song like ends like really short and kind of clips off,
Yeah, like I'll never forget seeing Riff Raff at Vans Warped Tour, I think in like 2014.
Oh,
and
damn.
it was when he was like yoked, and I was so excited to see him because, like, I don't know, it's Riff Raff, and I just remember being so disappointed, like getting there, and he wouldn't even talk on the mic. He just had a flag, and he was just waving it at the crowd while his music was playing. What? And I just remember
just
being
a listening party.
Yeah, straight up, and I was just like, oh man, like that just always like burned into my head. Like, don't just play the song.
Well, that's some of the issues that I have. Like, I don't remember which like recent trap artist, like Lil something, came to one of the universities here for like one of the Frosh weeks. Like I'm not sure how of a common word Frosh week is, but like it's like the first week of university and shit, and all their fucking school parties, and what team do you want to be and all that bullshit, right? And some rapper came, and friends of mine were posting on Snapchat that go to that school, and he's like, the music has his voice playing, and then he's like, what and then just like and I'm like, what? And they're like, man, it was such a dope show. And I'm like, y'all are fucked. Like, so I don't want to be a hater, but like, that's not a show at all.
Like, so 2 things. One, I saw Tyler, the Creator, recently.
Nice. How was it? Was it off the Call Me If You Get Lost tour?
Yes. Amazing. I saw him 10 years ago, like pretty much around the same time, when he was touring with Odd Future.
Nice.
And very like, you can see similarities in the performances, but like seeing him master that craft, just kind of piggybacking off of like rappers performing, he does it right. So no vocal tracks, but instrumentals. And also some songs have like intros or extended intros and things like that, where it's really like, it's a performance. It's so so freaking sick. And like just the way he interacted the stage performance, and like he at one point a boat comes on stage.
I was about to ask about the boat.
So cool,
because he's gone so conceptual in the last 2 releases. So cool. And he fucking does such a good job with that shit. And
such an inspiration.
What was the other thing you were gonna say?
Playboy Cardi. Sorry if that.
No, it's all good.
Good. Playboy Cardi's performance, or I've seen his tour dates where people don't even know if it's him on stage. I don't know if you've seen that. Like, I've
never known.
So Playboy Cardi's last tour has been such an anomaly, where there's someone on stage. You don't know who it is. It could be Playboy Cardi. It could not be.
Right.
The backlighting is just red, and so you just see a silhouette running across the stage, and then they keep the house lights on. Wow. So it's such an odd thing. And I watched a YouTube video of a music professor who brought his kid there and pretty much like explained the performance, and him, he must have been in his 50s, I think. So he's an older guy, and he was just like, even for me, I understood the vibe. Like, this is a vibe. It's not so much about performing or showcasing like the talent of the live performance, but just more so setting a mood, an environment, and just kind of executing like that vibe, and having a bunch of fans just get together and sing songs together. And like the person on stage, whether it's Playboy Cardi or not, there's rumors on both ends of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because again, like people will get photos and it's like, that's not Playboy Cardi.
Well,
Like,
it reminds me of like MF Doom used to do that. There was a festival that he did where I don't know if it was the whole set. Like, did Playboy Cardi do this for the whole set?
Yeah, so like there would be a metal guitarist coming out at some point and would just riff over the beats and songs.
Wow.
But the only vocals you would hear that were live would be like, yeah, or like, woo, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, just kind of hyping up the songs. But it's really just less of a live performance and more like a listening party, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
With an environment and a mood, which is a cool kind of like niche of like that world.
Yeah.
Know,
well, it's funny because like you're saying, like the question if it's Playboy Cardi or not, like MF Doom used to do that where he would bring like another celebrity. Like there's one time he had Hannibal Buress play as MF Doom.
Cool. And
Hannibal Buress is like his recognizable voice being like, Figaro. Like,
that's so sad.
And everyone's like, what the fuck? And then the DJ on purpose is like, hold up. Like, this is not MF Doom. Who the fuck are you? Why are you wearing? And then, because like MF Doom used to wear his mask and then glasses, like regular, eyesight glasses, like on top, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he'd take it off and he's put his glasses back on. He's like, oh, I don't know. I just wanted, like, he was just saying, and then MF Doom would, he'd be like, get the fuck out of here, and he like jump on stage sad. And then he would like play the song, and man, so fucking badass. And that's one guy I always wish I could see. Like he did back when like Adult Swim was like new and relevant, like he was doing a lot of shows with them, and he had this whole like Christmas special on there, and it was like MF Doom with like Santa Claus and all.
Was it a cartoon or was it live action?
It was.
I know he was big into comic book stuff.
He was very big into comics, and like I was saying, like that's what it makes its way into his music, like with his samples and all that shit. And I don't think it was like cartoon or I think it was more so kind of like it did YTV get, like, I think YTV is Canadian, but did it get its way to the US?
Mm-mm.
I'm trying to think, what is a TV show? Like we had this thing called YTV, which was like kids like cartoon television, but it also had like live action shows like Hannah Montana or whatever, right? And there was a guy there, like the host of it, his name was Carlos, and he used to do like these segments in between shows. And MF Doom did that. I haven't seen them because I couldn't find them, but he would do like the introductions or outros before and after shows. And it was like, for argument's sake, I could be wrong, but it's like I'm probably wrong, but it's like Adult Swim is like airing South Park or whatever, and so MF Doom does some bit about whatever, and then South Park starts rolling, so like little things. I
wonder
like
if that was just a Canadian thing. Yeah, I don't
could be.
That.
I honestly, is Adult Swim Canadian or American?
No, we have Adult Swim, but YTV we don't have.
Yeah, YTV's for sure Canadian. That I know for sure, because I was like, maybe it made its way into the US, even though it's a Canadian production, but you guys got so much shit, you don't need what we got, man. Like we have like 2 publications and that's pretty much it.
Oh really?
Bell and Rogers, and then they all just have their own like different branches and subsidiaries of the same thing essentially. But like the stage antics are one thing that's really dope. Like I saw Schoolboy Q at this festival in Montreal called Oshiega, and there were some songs where he's kind of just like letting the vocals play, and then other songs where he's rapping on top of it. And the weird part was that, like, if you're sitting there and you're assessing the audience and you're looking at like who they are, and you know that everybody goes crazy when you actually rap all the songs, like maybe he burns out his voice, I don't know what it is, but I would think that you would just make all of your songs the ones that you rap yourself. But it also makes me think of like, are you a fan of T-Pain at all?
Yeah.
Do you watch any of his like recent podcasting or like interviews?
I saw him freak out, I think, about Lil Baby recently, or like within the past year. I think we froze.
Yeah,
Hello?
we did freeze. You're saying,
okay.
There we go. Okay, we're back. Sorry, you saying?
That I think I saw a clip of him talking about Lil Baby or Lil Uzi, and he's like, "There's one Lil Baby, there's one Lil Uzi."
Yeah.
That's like that's the biggest or the most I've seen from his podcasting world. But I see clips of him here and there of just like he has a song with Denzel Curry recently.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so good.
That's a dope song.
There's like Denzel Curry and T-Pain, Denzel Curry and Slow Tie, and then there's another one, which is pretty fucking sick. Like I love it. I love it so much. I'm doing a drum cover of it. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's kind of similar to the word Tamagotchi or some shit like that, but it's really good. But,
yeah, I thought it was Tamagotchi.
Oh, it might be. I might be right. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm so bad with names sometimes. But T-Pain, somebody was gonna say with T-Pain. Oh yes. So when he was touring, apple bottom jeans, and when he was like the biggest thing, he would have one of his guys go out into the crowd, like on this backstage, like just pull a curtain or whatever, and just take a picture of the whole audience. And that's what would determine his set list for the night. So like if he was basically saying like if he was in like an area where there was, for what he called, a lot of people from the hood that were there, he would put on a lot of like the DJ Khaled tunes, But if it was like, he's like, if it was a sea of white people, he was like, he would take all that out and sub it in with like all the other like white people tracks. You know what I mean? Just like play to the audience. And I'm like,
that's so funny. That's
how much of that exists,
Yeah.
Across artists, because it's a very real thing to play to your audience and like
100%.
play songs that people are going to fuck with. And I mean, it's definitely got to be easier today to be able to do that. Like if you're playing like Reading or whatever, like that's one of my favorite things too. Do you follow Reading Festival and all the shit that they do?
Well, I see the clips and it's just like insane crowds,
fucking
like
mad,
massive. And I mean, I've seen those videos.
Yeah, like one of my favorites is I think it was Oasis, not Liam Gallagher, but it was Liam Gallagher when he was in Oasis. He called out Jay-Z.
Shout out the Gallaghers.
Yeah, yes, exactly. They did some shit and they dissed Jay-Z, or he dissed Jay-Z. I shouldn't say they, but like Liam Gallagher in some way dissed Jay-Z. And then Oasis played. Why? I don't remember. This was so time ago too. This is back when Jay-Z had like when he had like bald, like when he was just like shaving his head and shit, like when Miguel was doing that too. And so I think it was Jay-Z performing and then Oasis. And so Jay-Z opened up his set by playing Wonderwall and getting this strat and he's like, said maybe, and he's like fucking around and shit. And I'm like, oh my God, I fucking love that. It's crazy. So funny, but it's that level of like, fuck you. And it's always like Reading Festival or like the Leeds Festival where I see shit like that, and it's so like the stage antics and shit like that. And yeah, like part of that fits in with like playing to your audience,
I know here, like the music scene in Connecticut, at least, it's a very like a lot of pop punk and hardcore.
Right.
So I know for me, if I were to like my friend Jake, I mentioned earlier, he plays in a pop punk band. I know we have talks that once I'm ready to perform, play with them and stuff. I know if I were to play to a crowd like that, I would steer clear of hyperpop. Or like for sure, I would steer clear of like my weird stuff. Like I have a song Comedian, which is kind of like an electro kind of synthy pop song.
Interesting.
I would steer clear of those and stick to like the Sours, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Dogma. Right. I would stick to like rock oriented. But I've other friends that play in different bands and stuff, or like even rappers that like if I were to perform with them, maybe I'd go and stick to the more beat heavy, or I would definitely change my set, which is something I think about a lot. And I also want to, like when I was playing in world class, I would have like when we would need to drop D or like tune, I would put little like songs in the set because we'd have backtracks. Just for like heavier bass or sound effects. I would like when we were tuning, it'd be like, It's time to tune, time to tune,
Nice.
and then we would just tune our guitars while the song plays. And so I definitely want to like incorporate like and make kind of like a theatric show, because it could be boring, like me just on stage, just like
Yeah, absolutely.
kind of just me. So I want to like
Just playing. I feel that for sure.
Get like cutouts or something and like put guitars on them, or like just like I don't know, like
would you
like
sing and play an instrument at the same time, or would you just be holding the mic?
I would love to, but I really I don't know if I could focus on that, because like when I play, like at least it's been a year since I've played live. It's just like blackout. I don't know. I just I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just fucking going crazy. Also, I was playing bass at the time, so it's not like I really had to worry about playing things right.
Just like one at a time.
So I know like when I play now or like this summer, if I get a show, I'm gonna want to just go fucking AWOL. So I don't know if I would want a guitar or anything.
No, I feel that too, because like for me, it's like I look at any musician that sings and plays an instrument at the same time, and I'm like, how do you do that? Yeah. You know, like I'm like I look at like one of my biggest what's become a hero now is Anderson .Paak, and just like what he's done as a drummer.
Brought home hella Grammys this year,
dude. Clean sweep, man. Fuck, man, crazy, so good. And I don't think anybody else other than Bruno Mars would have been able to help achieve that with him. You know, like I was thinking, like Kendrick and Anderson .Paak have done a song together, but to make a band, like both of them have that era of music ingrained in their music already. And for them, and obviously someone like Bootsy Collins is super helpful as well to have in your arsenal and your team. But, you know, like those two guys, man, are just fucking wild. And they're short kings. And they're fucking,
are they?
Yeah, they are, bro. And
that's funny.
You see, like Anderson .Paak's drum set, and then they did it night. And Bruno Mars is there and he's playing, and then Anderson .Paak has got like a double drum set, and I'm like, I love that they're both so small. And I'm like, fuck yes, I'm
fucking
like,
hitting moonwalks and shit.
Literally just like this little beam, just like pulling, you know.
It's so funny.
That shit's so dope. But you were saying about the because like in Canada we really only have like Toronto and Montreal. You know, I mean, sure.
Do you know the band Narima? I think that's how you say it.
Say it once more, sorry.
Narima. Narima. I don't know. It's a Canadian band that I've been following, and they've been so nice to me. And I think their music's amazing. They have a song "Home." So good.
Okay, yo, I'm gonna check that out.
I don't know how to say their name. I'm sorry if I butchered it.
Oh, dude, I'm not sure if they listen to this podcast, but so you know, like when someone says like they're doing a North American tour, you know, there's like 4 or 5 days in Mexico, like a fucking billion in the US, and then like 3 in Canada. Maybe sometimes it's just one. Sometimes they only play Toronto.
Yeah, that's the big city.
You know, or maybe Vancouver because they've just played like Portland or whatever, and they don't even make it to Toronto because Toronto's really fucking expensive to play here.
It's expensive like, to play.
Yeah, to get like Toronto, from what I've been told. I wouldn't know from experience, but like a lot of bands will rather just play Montreal because it's like cheaper to make everything happen, whether it be insurance, security, you know, the arena, the venue, whatever the case is. But everything in this fucking city is expensive, and no one really has any purchasing power anymore in this city. So it's a pain in the ass to just be around here.
Yeah, you guys are going through some shit up there, right?
Yeah, bro. Like
economic and same here. I mean, the whole world's kind of fucked right now, but
it is pretty fucked. But we're, for whatever reason, our you know, government wants to be first in like the act of printing money, and inflation is fucking crazy right now, and it's just a pain in the ass, you know. And there's a lot of people that were supposed to play gigs here, like Action Bronson with Earl Sweatshirt, and they rescheduled it to a later date. Even comedians are like, you know, Toronto is on my list because my manager, agent, label, whatever greater thing that they're a part of, and they're like, I'm losing money playing this show. You know what I mean? I'm losing money going down here, right? And the crossing of the border is not easy, and all these hurdles, you know, for like our country's population is less than the state of California, you know. And
California is fucked.
It is fucked. No, but it's like, I don't mean to shit on my country because I
Yeah.
do love this place in some ways, but it's like as a musician, just looking at it through the scope of business, it's like it's a pain in the ass. And I've always like for bands in the US to sort of get around state to state. And what's it like for bands to travel where it makes sense going, like, because I'm not sure where Connecticut is in the whole scope of the US map. Like, is it in Massachusetts, or if I'm
Yeah,
pronouncing that
we're
correctly?
sandwiched between Mass and New York.
I see. Okay. So then you travel to New York for work. That makes sense. So like
Yep.
I have some friends that like go to Berkeley, and a lot of
Hmm.
my favorite musicians that like session musicians also went there. And
A lot of those. Yep.
yeah, like I find like people travel state to state with ease, and it's profitable, not even in the just sense of like dollars, but profitable in the sense of like playing good shows, networking, getting on other things outside of like music, like do you know the band Valley?
I don't think so. No.
They're like a pop band, but they're from here. They're actually graduates of the same school that I went to, and they got a record deal and moved straight to the US. And they have been doing a lot of tours where they're opening up for larger acts, and they're sort of playing the same cities, even though it's different venues. And everything has just been on a great incline,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's
I feel like
awesome.
that's just so much easier in the US than it is here. And so I'm curious to hear from you, who's, an American.
Yeah. So like basically asking like the ease of touring, or
Yeah,
how
like
like,
how easy is it to travel state to state and,
oh,
play a
I
gig
mean,
every night?
yeah, I mean, so I I can only speak on my previous band where
Mhm.
just first off the internet
Yeah,
and finding bands that are kind of in your realm and just
right.
cold emailing or cold DMing like,
Mm.
yo, trade shows. Like
Right,
you get
right.
me a show in Pennsylvania, we'll get you a show in Connecticut. And
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
just doing that. And like for me personally, I don't I might get flack for this. I don't see the benefit in touring, for me at
Mm.
least, in
Right.
today's day and age, where the profit to like spending is probably
Yeah, oh my God, it's fucked.
minuscule. Like
Yeah,
you get
absolutely.
paid 200 a gig maybe for being a small act, and
Yeah.
then God forbid they make you fucking pay for unsold tickets, which is just the biggest scam.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then between travel, gas, and luckily for
Room
me, it's
and
just
board.
me. I
Mhm.
get full profit, but I mean, if you're a band, now you're splitting it 4 or 5 ways.
Yeah.
And then if you're a metalcore band, 7, 8 ways.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no real for me
Yeah.
benefit where I have the internet. I'm
Mhm.
an internet kid, like well,
Yeah.
adult now, but I post like again, the content is what I think will sell me. And then if
Mm.
I get to the point where it makes sense, of course I would love to travel tour. Like
Mhm.
our honeymoon's going to be traveling the US. Like
Nice.
I want to just, I would love to travel.
Yeah, absolutely.
The world's a scary place right now too, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's always going to be that. And I think that would be the biggest holdback for me, but
Mm.
I can't let that control me, like my
Yeah.
anxieties or fears of going to a mall and dying. So
A
it's
mall. Is there something like specific you have with malls?
well,
Or are you
just
just
the
saying like
amount of fucking
general?
shootings we have here, dude. It's like so scary. I
Mm.
have crippling anxiety, I think.
Oh, really?
So, well, I don't know. I mean, my mind will just like I guess going back to like me just tunnel visioning, like if I
Right.
think about something, I just fucking like I can't
Just
stop.
yeah.
So like America ruined movie theaters, malls, and schools for me.
Yeah, the schools is the one thing that I saw a lot of. And I remember too, like I think it's the one thing musicians will run to first, but like the song Pumped Up Kicks.
Yeah.
And like I remember being in elementary school and like singing that song. I was in grade 5 or grade 6 because I'm 22. I was born in 99. So when that song came out, I was in elementary school, and I remember just like, all the other kids, and I was like, this
Yeah.
is like such a great song. And then I remember like I vividly remember 2 years later, like finally watching the music video or like unofficial music, and I was like,
Oh shit.
Why? I'm like, what is this? I'm like, why did we
Yeah.
play this? So it's like, Jesus Christ, I'm like, this is fucking mad. And then went down this like rabbit hole in like one day where I just started
Yeah.
like looking at what happens, and I was like, holy fuck. And I think like it definitely happens here. I just don't think it gets put on the news as much. You know, like it definitely happens everywhere,
Yeah.
but it doesn't get so much attention all the time, you know, as it
Yeah.
would there. I mean,
Is
and
that a
again,
good
like
thing, a bad thing? I don't know. I know
yeah,
for
it's
me
hard to
though, it's
say.
like I see it. It feels like every day, dude, and like
Really, eh?
it's scary. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
but again, like I can't let that dictate it, like my
Mm,
life
for
or
sure.
whatever. Like I can't let that control me. I think uh like something I learned growing up. I don't know if it'll make sense, but like I grew up around certain people or friends where they led their life with just like no care and
Mm,
love, and nothing bad ever happened to them. And I feel
wow.
like for
Mm,
me, like the more anxiety I have or more like weight I put on my shoulders or like thoughts in my head,
mm-hmm.
bad stuff happens. So I try to clear my
Could it be
mind.
the like there's always those like tarot card girls that do all that
Yeah,
shit, but like could it be like the law of attraction?
I'm sure there's something to it.
Mm,
I feel like, yeah, like there's a few people I know growing up where I would be amazed with what they like. There's a guy I knew growing up, his name's Matt. He went to Australia for I don't know however many months or a year or so, and like he was just in the band scene. And when he was down in Australia, he would, this was when Vine was big, he would go
mm,
around and just like kind of like talk to homeless people and like
right,
just like
right.
Vine, and like nothing bad ever happened to him. And I feel like
Yeah,
for
that's
me,
kind of crazy.
if I were to do it, I would get stabbed or some
Yeah.
shit. So
That's kind of crazy though. Just that level of like, I don't want to call it naivety because I don't know the guy, but like that
yeah,
level of just like, I'm gonna go do this and
yeah.
whatever happens, happens. Like that's kind of bonkers, you know?
So like I always like I haven't talked to him in years, but like
Mhm.
I always kind of kept that in my back pocket where it's like if you lead with like just love and like just don't have like kind of let your fears at the door,
Mm,
you know less bad stuff might happen to you.
yeah.
I don't know.
The law
I've
of
yet to
attraction.
really try it out, I guess, but
Yeah.
so we'll see. Maybe if I tour one day and like I'm just like a never shout never figure, or like someone
Yeah,
that's just
yeah.
like hippy dippy, maybe I'll be fine. But I don't know. The
Yeah,
world's a
I've
scary
always
place
had
right
like
now.
the daydream of making like the most like kind of like beefed up like tour bus, you
Mm.
know, like the Batmobile of tour buses, like metal crates on the windows, like trip wires, and I'm like, what's like the fucking like most like just ultra protected bus that you could make, like those like airless like foam tires, like just everything just fucking to the nines, you
Yeah.
know, just to protect like a $500 drum set or whatever, you know.
Yeah, well, growing up, I've been friends with bands
Mhm.
since middle school. So the amount of stories I hear of shit getting stolen on
Oh my god,
tour, it's like,
all the time.
bro,
That's all the time.
it's crazy. And there's no like protection when you're out on the road. It's like you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, no, if
Like,
it happens, it's like this is the thing too, like how do you feel about like labels? Like would you seek out getting signed with your music, or is it something that's just like if it were to come it would be a distribution deal? Like have you ever thought about labels before?
yeah, I
I guess
mean,
in a realistic sense.
realistically, if it, I would talk to my lawyer.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a
So
lawyer, so
very good, man.
I got in a car accident recently, so we're in the process of suing. So I
Oh
love saying I
fuck,
have a
dude.
lawyer.
Yeah, for sure. It's like,
No, I
hey
would
man,
bring
do you
it.
do contract law?
Yeah, well, I would. Do you do birth law? No,
Yeah.
I would bring it. I would bring it to a lawyer and overlook it. But um, I I personally don't think there's a lot of sense in doing that, especially
Mhm.
in today's day and age. I think
Yeah.
people. I was listening to an H3 podcast.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah. Is it Ethan something?
Ethan Klein. Yep.
Ethan Klein. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, yeah.
I was listening to he did a podcast with Brittany Bronsky, I think I'm saying her name right. She's a
Mm,
TikToker.
right.
And they were talking about management in that space and how much of a rip off it is with
Yeah.
how traditional media and internet media, I keep hitting my mic.
It's all good.
They there was like crossover with traditional media into this new age, and
Right.
how a lot of that traditional media takes advantage of
Mhm.
just negligence or just not knowing. And there's there's a lot of crossover when you don't need it. You don't need a manager. I feel like I could respond to emails.
Yeah.
I feel like if it gets to a point where it's overwhelming,
Yeah.
of course, like obviously, but
Right.
I can handle it. Like I can call a
Mhm.
video and be like, hey, can I book a show? Like I
Yeah,
can do
exactly.
that. There's no real need to have someone take 20% of the $200 I make.
Yeah.
Especially with a lot of labels now. I mean,
Mhm.
the music industry is so DIY. Why do I need
Mhm.
Epitaph, Victory? Like,
Yeah,
let alone
there's a lot of like you said, the traditional media has what I think is infiltrated the new wave, and they haven't been able to adapt.
because they
You
need
know,
money.
like,
They need
well,
money.
that's the thing, and they do it in a sense of like their only form of income or revenue is off the back of another artist. You know,
They're not coming up
and
with the ideas. They're not writing the music.
that's the thing, right? And my thing is like I started my label only as an avenue for artists that wanted to just advertise. Like
Mhm.
that's it. You know, like it's solely like as opposed to having it run through the actual company, because I would like the air quotes equations to advertise someone's company would be different to advertise an artist. One is an actual physical product that you can hold, and the
Mhm.
other one is sort of a brand. So you need to
Yeah.
treat it differently, you know? But like
Exactly.
a lot of my friends are like, oh dude, like when you start a label, like you're gonna be like huge. I'm like, this is thing I'm gonna deal with like two people,
Yeah.
only to just be like, hey, why don't we try and get you like more views or streams or ads kind of thing? You know what I mean? Like,
I would love like that would make more sense to me as opposed
mhm.
to like sign. I love just like what I said in the
Like you said,
beginning.
helping out your friends.
I love that so much. So like giving some like a smaller label an opportunity to grow
Mm,
with me
yes,
is a whole it's way more valuable to me than
absolutely.
just signing to a bunch of
But it's
random
also not
suits.
like you have like things like the 360 deal where it's like we own everything and we're taking 5 to 15 to sometimes 20 or 30% of every possible basket that your eggs will be put in, whether it's,
Yeah.
you know, ticket sales, CD/stream sales, you know, if someone's paying you to be in a magazine or an interview, or clothing deals or merchandise both online and during tours. And you know, you have a base to meet, and then we take this on top, like all this fucking wild shit. And like the artists that we're working with Sharp 4, it's literally like, I don't want to own anything. I didn't
Yeah.
write the fucking music, so it's not mine. I
Yeah.
just want to help you try and reach more people. Like that's it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I feel like a lot of labels today are starting to branch into more of distribution deals as
Mhm.
opposed to like the full ownership. Like someone like Billie Eilish, she has a distribution deal with some group called Dark Room, and which I think honestly is her thing because I've never seen it anywhere else. So I
Yeah.
think they just called it Dark Room, and Interscope Records, you know. And it's like, because my thing is like, if you get to that level, you're gonna need somebody that's got the experience to book you fucking arena tours or do shit with Adobe or whatever and read it through.
Yeah, there's levels to it.
Well, exactly, right. But it's like anything below that, as an artist, like if you really want to do it, you should be able to handle it. Like you said, like you can respond to emails, you know, like, pardon me, I've seen someone's like, oh yeah, I got this distribution deal. What do they do? Oh, they help me release my music. I'm like, so they fucking press upload on DistroKid, like that's
Yeah.
it. You
CD,
know what I mean?
DVD, distro.
Yeah,
It's
it's just like it's kind of ridiculous.
yeah, it makes no sense to me. I mean, what you're explaining, I
Mhm.
like with your label and stuff,
Yeah,
I 100% support like stuff like
thank you.
that. Like that stuff
Mhm.
that's really like, cool to me. But
Thank you.
a bunch of people that, you know, I remember when I was doing the band, we would cold email labels all day every day. We had
Right.
what is it called? EPK,
Yeah,
electronic
electronic
press
press
kit.
kit. Yeah.
And we would have live videos, promos, a
Mhm.
little fucking
Yeah.
paragraph
Yeah,
description.
everything.
And I think I remember getting so geeked because Hopeless Records sent like a smiley face back, and we were like, ah!
Yeah. We made it.
and then it's like nothing ever happened and transpired from that. And also too, that's kind of what I'm noticing with just doing it on my own is like there's features that never come out. There's people that you try to work with that never happen. And like kind of learning to not get married to ideas is a big part of all this.
Yes.
And that's another thing with labels that could
It's a
get
great way to
that.
word it too. Getting married to ideas, because I don't think people really a lot, you know.
Oh, sorry, I froze again.
Yeah, we had a little freeze. No, just like you said, like getting married to ideas is a real sentence that I feel like some musicians should like fucking tattoo on their forehead. Like just focus more on the actual thing getting done, not like, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if this happened?
Yeah,
it's just wild. Like you'll never really make anything happen.
For instance, I tried doing my first video without my friend Cody. Talented director hit me up, I think last November,
right?
Which we still text, but he hit me up and he was like, "Yo, I'd love to do the Sour video." And he's from Connecticut, you know, less followers than me, which isn't a big deal, but like again, that comes into play where it's like I would love to help and grow and do stuff together. Of course, makes sense. Absolutely. To me. And we talked, we texted. The Sour video fell through. My friend Cody ended up doing it, and so we were planning on doing the Dogma video together. And it fell through, and so I can't be stuck on that and keep hitting him up. Yo, when are we gonna do this video? When are we gonna do this video? It's like it's gone. The thought's gone. On to the next thing. I have a new song I'm writing. Let me do this song. Let me do this video. And we still keep in touch. And if it happens, and like it happens,
paths can cross. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of course. So it's gonna be a moment when it happens. I don't want to force it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's when the fun kind of goes away.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, man. Listen, I have a good friend of mine who helps me with a lot of my stuff. His name is Leo. He does like, you'll see him on time to time on the podcast, but he also helps with like all the photography on the show and the Polaroids that are here. There's one missing. I'm waiting on a friend to send me a photo of themselves so I can add it there. Yeah. Which, by the way, that's what I was gonna say too. Send me a photo that you'd want, because we take it and we print it into a Polaroid, and then we print that Polaroid and then we put it up on the board. So we're gonna have Wolf right there and then you right beside.
Oh, dope.
Which would be cool. And so like when we have people come in, they get, because we want to fill this whole fucking thing up with Polaroids and shit, and just make like a big wall. But my buddy Leo and I think we're aiming for September. We want to take a trip down to New York to meet up with a friend of his that I've had on the show. His name is Evan Alexander Moore. He's a singer-songwriter as well. And then I'm trying to see if we kind of just take it into like a 4 or 5 days thing as opposed to like a Friday to Sunday. Yeah. Because I want to go to Kenosha as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's a guy named Tim Baltus that I've had twice now on the show. He's a drummer. He's done a lot of great stuff with, like whether it be Disney or 21st Century Fox or something. So I want to kind of make like a trip out and just like hang out with US friends. And so if you're not too far from New York from where we'll be, it'd be great to connect and hang out, maybe grab a bite to eat or something.
Of course. 1,000% yes. I would.
Hell yes,
to.
dude.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. So fun. Absolutely, man. I'll hit you up when that happens. Like obviously that's September, it's ways away. But for all the Flat 5 listeners, check out Pushing Daisies, Dylan Gallagher. We'll have all the social media somewhere around here if Landon, our good buddy Landon, can make it happen. If not, it'll be all over the social media. Go listen to Dogma. Go follow the social media and Spotify as well, and keep in touch for new music. Dude, I hope the wedding goes fantastic. I love how much you like, at least on like it shows like how you adore your fiance. Like I love that. And I just recently got in a relationship as well, and it's great to adore somebody, you know.
Oh man.
So I wish you guys all the best.
Person.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And all the best on your honeymoon as well. That's going to be pretty sick.
Dude, this was so much fun.
Likewise,
if you ever want to do this again, I would.
Dude, totally
1,000% down. So,
absolutely, man.
So
I have this. I think it would be pretty cool to have like, if there's a day where I can kind of get like artists that are releasing in the same like 2 to 3 week span, and just have everybody come on and just talk about their song. And because like I'm not a songwriter, so it's like there's curiosity that I have, but I feel like it hits a limit. And if I could get more songwriters on asking different questions, because, you know, like we said, like helping each other out and helping each other grow would be a really good thing. And so, you know, maybe the jazz guys got an idea that helps out the metal dude, and the pop punk guys got an idea that helps out, you know, the pop singer, or whatever the case is, right? So
it's all blending together.
Exactly, right. And the genre fluidity, and maybe we can make some fucking like J. Cole D-Day style record where we all play on each other's tunes and shit too.
Amazing record.
It'd be fucking dope. Yeah. Oh my God. It's so good.
Stick. So good.
Oh, froze right as you were froze right as you were about to say stack. Like, oh, bro. It's the one thing with the Wi-Fi. Yeah. But listen, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on. Let me know when you're releasing tunes again, and we'll definitely chat about those as well.
Dude, it was a pleasure. So nice meeting you.
Likewise, man. Thank you so much. All righty. For all the listeners, thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.
Bye.